3, 2, 1.
Hey friends, welcome to Friday Night Live. We're so excited, thrilled to be here again, and we know that it's a fun summer evening. So thank you for taking the time to be with us. I don't know about where you're at, but right now, right here, it is a beautiful, beautiful time of day. Sun is kind of low on the horizon line, and the shadows are long, and the light starts glowing. It's actually what we call golden hour, right? And so if that's where you're at right now, or maybe the sun has already set or is about to, it's a beautiful time of day. And I just appreciate you joining us, and we're going to have a really good time tonight. I'm going to be painting a scene from a trip that Peter and I took to San Francisco last year. And Peter's in here with me, so if you have any questions, you might be viewing this on our site, acrylicuniversity.com. If you want to participate in the chat, you need to click that link and go to the YouTube version. But anyways, love this place. It's called Land's End, and it's a beautiful park there right along the water. And anyways, that's the scene we're going to paint tonight. I'll show it to you in just a second. But so you know, right off the bat, if you want to find a way to win this picture, remember to text just the word Land End. So that's the idea there, Land's End, where we shortened it. But this is kind of the scene that we're going to be painting. And so Peter will bring it up so you'll be able to see it the whole time. But I'm going to set this up because I'm going to change this a little bit, and I'm just, in terms of the design, I'm gonna like move those trees out a little ways, but I want to walk through what I have here. I've got my basic simple colors here. I've got titanium white, this is cadmium yellow light, this is cadmium orange, this is quinacridone red, this is ultramarine blue, this is Mars black, this is a neutral gray, and down here in the corner I've got my phthalo blue. So we're basically set and ready to go, and I'm gonna start just start painting. And if you haven't been here for one of these, I want you to know that I don't do a ton of teaching, but if you do have questions, feel free to ask. I'll take the time to try to answer any question you have. But tonight is more so a time to hang out with our friends from around the world, and to hear what's going on, and to just kind of share this time together and share life together. So again, thanks for being here, and I'm just going to jump in and get started. But shout out, let us know where you're coming in from. I do know this, that I talked to my parents-in-law like just a few minutes ago. Actually, we had an accident, one of those accidental phone calls. My phone was ringing, and I was like, oh, Edmonton, Alberta, I think I probably know who this is. And I answered the phone, and it took a minute I was like, hello, and it took a minute because it was one of those pocket dial kind of situations. So it's kind of fun. But I know I just want to say hey to you, Mama Bear, Papa Bear. Glad that you're able to be here on the live stream with us tonight. So anyways, who else is with us? Where are you coming from? And tell us what time of day it is.
Yeah, we got Doug Greenman.
All right.
Laurel Isletine, Roxanne Montesano.
Oh man, awesome.
Cindy, if I say your last name, I'll butcher it. But Cindy says, good evening from rural western New Jersey.
Okay, yes.
We got Janet from Georgia. Matthew Kelly's back from 2 weeks ago. Welcome back, Matthew.
All right, glad to have you back, for
Diana
sure.
Goodman, Laura Isletine.
Hey.
Good to see you.
Yeah, it's so great. It's fun, isn't it, man? We get to hang out with friends. Peter just wrote me didn't write me, but he just told me a statistic he just read, and it just like hit us both pretty hard, because it said that 47% of American adults are unemployed right now, and that just hit me like, whoa, that's a lot of people. And if that's you, like, man, our hearts are going out to you, because like that's just a hard time. And I'm thankful. I'm an artist, and I'm gonna give you guys a little confession here today, because I'll tell you something. I'm gonna look you straight in the eye when I say this. It's actually not that easy to make a living as an artist. Did you know that? It's true. There's actually a lot of artists that I know who are professional artists. Almost all of them are they have a spouse or something like that is like maybe the main breadwinner, and it kind of like enables them to then go do their art without kind of as much of the worry of making a living, because even if they don't really make that much, they'll be okay, because their spouse carries the weight of kind of the bills. But so when I meet an artist who doesn't have that, I think, wow, okay, like these guys are serious about this, and there's definitely really amazing artists who are out there and probably make lots of money too, but for the most part, there's a lot of artists who are like, how am I gonna make it work? How's this gonna work? And so I've been very fortunate to be able to be an artist and to make a living from it. And part of that was when we lived in Indianapolis. We had a pretty low cost of living there, and that was a really great place to get started. But anyways, I'm going to tell you a little bit more in a second, but
hold on real quick.
Yeah,
I want to finish calling out everybody in the
yeah
chat,
do it.
I don't know, I'm feeling affectionate today. I want to call out everybody. So we got John L from Marysville.
John, oh my goodness, he's feeling affectionate, and the first person that calls out is his girlfriend.
That just happened to be the next name. Okay. So.
Oh, all of a sudden I started feeling very affectionate. That's about the funniest thing that's happened on this.
Then we got Lottie Stout.
Okay, all right.
We have so many stouts in here. I don't know, man.
Oh yeah, well, I don't know, Lottie, did you know that Peter's a stout, man?
Yeah. Ann Dorsey, Rebecca Wynn,
Woo!
Cindy. Oh wait, no.
Oh yeah.
Won't do that. Bev B from Ontario, Canada.
Oh man, awesome.
Allison Burst from Mississippi, rural Mississippi.
Awesome. I like how you throw in the rural Mississippi in there.
She didn't. I added that.
Oh, you did.
I remember.
Oh, okay.
Linda Kelly from Snohomish. Christine Anderson from Wizard Lake, Alberta. Dorina Bell Petty. Elaine Zink from Alabama.
Woo!
Denise Mulkey from Ohio.
Okay, nice.
Vera from Devon, Alberta.
Yes.
Hall from Connecticut. Debbie from Florida. Joan from Rochester, Washington. Is that how you say that?
Rochester, yeah.
Yeah. Rebecca Wynn from Utah. Dennis Redmond from North Carolina. Shanna Kraft from South Carolina.
Awesome.
Sue Brent from Cambridge, Ontario.
Awesome. So that's so fun, man.
Let's see.
And if you're watching this,
Hold on, I got a few more.
Okay.
A few more, then you can say whatever. Noriz from Iraq.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks for joining us.
Ann Wright from Irvine, California. Martha from Minnesota. Martha Towner. Jim and Martha.
Okay, yeah.
And that's, I think we're up to speed.
That's cool. Well, yeah, keep shouting out if you're joining us right now and you haven't said where you are, who you are, where you're from. Continue to say that. Peter will keep me on track and let you have a moment where we acknowledge that you're here. But I was going to say that, what was I going to say? I don't actually remember. I'm going to get out my bigger brush, though, because sometimes if you're around me, you know that I like to paint with the bigger brush longer, so that the tendency to get too picky with stuff can be kind of diminished a little bit. Like I've been realizing, man, does anybody ever feel, I gotta talk to you straight face to face. Have you ever felt like you are just the worst artist in the world? Well, that's what I felt like this week. I just, like, honestly, I felt like I couldn't paint anything. I've got this show coming, and I mean, it's not as bad as I'm probably making it sound, but you know, the feelings that you get sometimes, you're like, oh my goodness, why do I do this? This is just like torture. I kept botching paintings, you know, like you have one that's like 80% done and you think, okay, I'm just gonna do this, you know, I know what I need to do, and then all of a sudden I would do something and I'd be like, oh, just took it to 110% and now it's bad. What am I gonna do? I did that so many times this week, and so I'm like thankful that we can have this time, because honestly, like sometimes painting and talking like with other people is really just, it's relaxing for me. I don't have to think about it so much.
So yeah, there are a few people out there that agree with you on the feeling like the worst artist.
Oh no.
Me too.
Just
I
let
felt
me.
like that before. Max from the UK.
Okay.
Max from the UK. And
Max,
then
welcome. Glad to have you.
Tanya from Seattle.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I know Tanya. I'm not totally sure, but because there's always more than one.
Tanya.
But
Comerford.
okay, yeah,
Comerford?
yeah, yeah. She's a AU member. Glad to have you, Tanya.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How cool. Well, yeah. Let's go back to this trip to San Francisco where we had so much fun, Peter.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you just say a few things that you remember about it.
Well, I remember me and Jed being really unprepared, or Jed and I being really unprepared. We were like, we got 3 days, we gotta film all this stuff. We only ended up shooting what we needed for the trailer, and like the very first trailer we ever released, and we were running all over San Francisco and kind of that area, trying to record stuff last minute, and it was totally like, I mean, we just
totally awesome is what
yeah.
you're gonna say.
No, it was awesome.
Totally awesome.
So many scenarios where everything just happened to work out.
Yeah. Well, that was actually the first, like, let's compare it though. I know that you say it was, I mean, like in retrospect, we look back at it and we go like, oh my goodness, we didn't know what we're doing. We had no clue. And we didn't. We had no clue. But I do want to say this, that compared to the first trip we ever took, which was down to where?
Arizona.
Arizona.
Where we froze our butts off.
Where we basically didn't film like anything. We did a lot better in California than we did down there, right?
Did.
Like, I have to just say, like, it was a step in the right direction. Like, we might have,
It was.
you know.
And we made it work out. We shot.
Well, that was the thing. I mean, we did some serious work there. Like, that's what I remember. It was like, from Arizona, we were like, hey, this is so awesome. Like, let's hang out. Like, this is so cool. Where do you want to go? And then we were like, when we went to San Francisco, it was more like, okay,
Yes.
we have work to do.
Well,
What can we plan? How can
Yeah.
we make this work?
we did tons of filming, and then we went to a Starbucks to edit it. You remember that? And then we were there like all afternoon.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yes. And then we realized we needed more.
Yeah.
That was what was crucial, was that we actually like were editing it while we were there,
Yep.
so that we knew what we needed to do.
Yes. And okay, so we went out kind of towards. It was like over the Golden Gate Bridge, kind of towards like Sonoma, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so we filmed a bunch of stuff out, kind of on this hillside.
That was awesome.
It was really fun.
What did you do?
So I set the drone up to get some drone shots of this field, and my drone, you can put it in the default mode, and you can put it in sport mode. In sport mode,
The
speed cap on it, and it can go to like 45 miles an hour or something. And so I was flying it over the hill we were standing on, and I misjudged how low the drone was, and I crashed it into a tree, like 300 or 400 yards up the hill in this thick brush, and Jed just looked at me like...
Oh my goodness. No, this was okay, I gotta look at you face to face. Okay, so here's the situation. So Peter's flying his drone, and I mean, it's awesome. Like, he's looking at his phone, and he can see cool stuff. I'm just kind of standing off to the side, but... And then all of a sudden the drone just comes whipping. Like, it's like a little buzz, right? But then it's like zzz, and it's just flying. And I'm thinking like, whoa, he really is confident in what he's doing. And it's just flying over our head. And we're like on the hill, like and it's just like at a, level angle going up on this hill. And then all of a sudden it just wham, it runs into a tree. And I look at Peter, and he looks at me like, he gives me the funniest look I've ever seen. It's like honestly, he was just like I don't know what I just did, but I laughed so. Oh my goodness, man. No, it was classically funny, man.
And
it was awesome.
It turned out like the feed from the drone didn't even stop. Like, we still had a camera feed from the drone, so we were kind of able to help locate it, and then it was just a broken rotor, and it was totally fine.
Yeah, it was totally fine.
Which, it's funny, because crashing into a tree wasn't the worst thing that happened to the drone that trip.
No, it wasn't. I know.
Yeah, later I landed it in the sand, and it caught sand in the bearings and the rotors, so I had to sit there.
That was funny, because it was like, comparatively, it took way longer. We were blowing the rotors out and, trying to clean that thing out. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we bought compressed air. Oh, man. What an adventure, though.
Yeah, no, seriously. It was awesome. But beautiful. San Francisco's beautiful.
Yeah, well, the thing that I'd only been to San Francisco, I think, maybe, let's see, I'm just trying to think back. I went there once or twice. And, yeah, I guess I was there twice before that, but I was only there, I was there for baseball, and then I went with some friends after I graduated from college, and we were just kind of hanging out, and I just remember going to Alcatraz that second time, and I think the first time I remember hanging down at, like, whatever the famous pier is there, but I don't, you don't explore much when you're with a large group and you don't have that much. I didn't even know that you could like cross over the hill and be at the, see like the ocean right there. Like, that was pretty awesome, and it's like probably really obvious to everybody in the world except for me. I was like, oh my goodness, look at this amazing beach here.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was really fun.
So that was our adventure. Then what was, I couldn't even remember the name of this, but you looked at this photo and you were like, that's Land's End. Or did you have to look it up or what?
No, I took a bunch of pictures all over there, so I remember like processing them.
Okay.
And like I was thinking about Land's End. Like, I named some of my pictures after Land's End.
Oh, gotcha.
It sticks out in my head.
Yeah. Well, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So fun. So anyways, that was a little bit of our adventure last April.
Mm-hmm. That was before the site even like opened.
Yep, that was before we ever even had made the site. Like, we had maybe started the beta test for Acrylic 10 or like for the site, but nothing more. Man, who was around for that? I want to know if there was anybody that did the beta test with us.
Beta test?
Yeah. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Did Dorina do the beta test?
I don't know. I have such a bad memory anyways, and like then you throw in like a year and I don't remember anything.
Rachel D. Ragan, what's her last name? Do you remember?
That is her last name.
D. Ragan?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think.
I thought she said it was something else.
Oh, you know what? I don't know. I don't remember.
We need to get better at names is what we need to do.
Yeah.
Allison Burris, she says I did beta.
Oh, okay, awesome. So Rachel did too? Or was that just a comment?
I was gonna, she said so good to be here. She's back.
Oh, okay, awesome. Yeah, that's right, Allison. I now that I think about it, I remember that you were part of the beta. I'm sure that if oh, man, that's funny though. I don't. We wouldn't even be able to go back and get records because we had a different platform. I don't know if you remember that, but we had built the whole site on a different platform, and oh my goodness, wow, what an incredible journey that was.
I know. We had a huge transition period, like basically right after we launched.
I know, so crazy. Anyways. That was like nuts. So I can't even go back. I mean, I think we could probably see like who was with us at the launch and that kind of thing, but I don't know if it goes back to the beta test.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'd ever be able to find any of that information except for on an Excel spreadsheet that probably says people's feedback.
Yeah.
We have that somewhere.
Jan Young says, I met Jed at the San Francisco Plein Air Convention. I broke my foot 3 days before the convention and had to roll around on a knee scooter.
Oh my goodness. I remember that, Jan. I totally remember that. Now, Jan, where are you from? Because I don't think you're from there. Are you? I don't remember for sure. But I remember talking to you after. Didn't we talk after my demo? I feel like that was where I remember... You know, just kind of like getting to know you a little bit. Yeah, that was so fun, and I was so bummed this year because the Plein Air Convention got canceled, of course, and then next year's they ended up moving it back to Colorado, and they asked me if I wanted to, like, I had kind of like weaseled my way in to be on the stage this year, because I after they moved, they had somebody who couldn't make it, so I was like, I'll do it. I love the Plein Air Convention, and I was gonna go anyways, and so I was like, well, if you need somebody to do that, I'll do it. And so then when they canceled the one in Santa Fe and moved it back to Colorado, the person, whoever was gonna do it originally, said that they could come back, so they gave me the option of basically going to that one as a normal painter or going back as a stage painter in 2022. So anyways, that's what I said I'd do.
Rachel, okay, so she says you can say Rachel D. Ray Gunn. So
okay.
Rachel says, I started the beta with you and then stuff came up and I didn't finish it out, but from then on I wanted to be a part of this.
Oh, awesome.
So,
well, that's really cool.
mm-hmm.
It's always nice, you know, like, I mean, we really didn't know what we were doing at the beginning.
No,
like,
we had no idea.
I mean...
Remember when, after launch day, when we sat down with Dan at Mod Pizza? And
oh my goodness, man.
Report, and we're like...
Oh my goodness.
We felt so professional.
Yeah, totally.
We had no idea.
We had no idea what we're doing. And I think the other thing that was, like, so interesting, if you don't know this, you I don't know, we started creating courses with, we didn't really know what we're doing, but I had ideas, and I was like, I think I know what to do. And I just kind of went off of what I thought. And we worked on some stuff, and we created our beta test, and then we put it out there, and I wasn't even going to do a beta test until, you know, I was like, well, we should, you know, get some feedback from people, but I'm really just going to impress people. That was what my thought was like, let's just put it out in front of some people to show them what's going on, and then they'll for sure want to be part of this, and, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And then what was the deal, Peter? We got all the feedback, and we're like, oh, man.
Oh, yeah, well, we naively... We had no idea.
Because I didn't think... I wasn't going to change anything.
Same, that's what... We were both like, we're not going to change anything. And
like,
then we were so naive.
Yeah, I know. And then we get all this feedback, and we're reading it, and we're like, you know what? This feedback is really good. I think that we should change what we did. So then we went back in, and we redid almost everything that we'd already done, and it was worth it.
Yeah,
it was totally worth it. It made it so much better. But from then on, we're kind of like, man, we just need to get real people's thoughts and opinions and viewpoints, because we don't know what we're doing.
Bev B says, off topic, what size brush is that?
Okay, this one right here is a number 4. This one right here is a number 10. And this one right here is a number 12. So here's the numbers, and you never have to ask again because you can just keep track while I'm painting, right? That's a joke.
Totally.
I was just joking. Yeah, but I did say the other day, because what's kind of funny about these Princetons is that there's a 4 and a 6, like these two, and then there's a 10 and a 12. And if you look, the 4 and the 6 are almost the same size, and the 10 and the 12 are pretty close too. I mean, it's actually a little, this one's got longer bristles, but I kind of figured that if you could tell that it's a small one, you kind of choose like 4 or 6 and be safe. Or with these ones, you know, you're probably safe if you're like, well, it's one of the bigger ones. The only other one that I really use is this one, which is substantially bigger, but I barely ever use it on this size of painting. So, and then I have a little round that I'll break out.
Roxanne, love my Princeton brushes. Yes.
Yeah, aren't they fun?
Let's see. Jan Young says, I struggle with acrylics and found you at the convention. Divine intervention.
Oh man, that's funny. Yeah. Well, I still think that's the thing that we're, you know, really passionate about, is like helping people like get passionate themselves about acrylics and see the, man, I think there's so many people that wrote it off or never gave it a shot, or, you know, felt frustrated and started looking for other alternatives, or maybe didn't think that it was capable of doing really amazing things.
Yeah.
And so we're glad that you're here, everybody.
Yeah, we really are. So just a couple reminders to everybody. If you want to win the painting, text land end, just one word. That's it, just one word. You should get a confirmation. It seems like the confirmation texts are working for everybody tonight. We fixed that. So, yeah, make sure to, if you want to win the painting, text land end, one word. Make sure to like the video to keep the trolls away. We don't like trolls. And what was the other thing? Oh yeah, Allison Burr says, I do feel like you've definitely made this way more than lessons. The community is one of my favorite things. I love Friday nights and seeing what everyone is working on.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. That means a lot, Allison, because we've been so thankful for the community that's developed, and it's been really, really, really fun to, you know, I think so many people are growing so much too, and doing a lot of different things. Like I see so many people doing, you know, taking steps in different directions and doing different stuff, and we're just so thankful to have such an amazing group of people.
We are. And yeah, so that's why we've talked about that a lot too, is like we feel like Jed can teach and all that stuff, but when it comes down to it, the community is the best part of it, you know.
Oh yeah.
And the friendships and stuff, so yeah.
Well, it's like I figure, like, you know, people can come to learn, but it's just like if you moved into a new area or something like that and you never met anybody, the chance of you wanting to move away could be pretty high. But if you meet people that are really become good friends, then like you're like, why would I ever, you know, I don't want to move from this neighborhood because my best friends live here. And I think that's like what we've kind of found with the community is like, man, I'm as excited about anything. I mean, I'm as excited about the community as anything.
Yeah.
And so we're pretty pumped. So back here, because I kind of moved this around, I'm gonna be doing a bit of kind of, I don't know what I'd say, maybe guesswork on what I should make this look like, because I kind of moved this paint smaller tree, to the other side of the bigger one here. So I'm trying to think, last weekend, was it last weekend or the weekend before? The weekend before, I guess, was when Willow and Renee and I went to, because 3 weekends ago I went on the big hike. Then last weekend we went back to I'm trying to think. I can't remember the timing of these things. Oh yeah, that's right, because we did the Friday Night Live, we did it at a different time. We did it early. That was what happened. I was like, wait, I painted that. How did we leave and do that? But so then we were gone to the same area over in Central Washington, and that was really fun, you guys. That was so fun.
Yeah.
I should have had some pictures out, but Willow and Renee and I floated down the Wenatchee River on inner tubes. That was super fun. We went to there's a good river, the Columbia River. There's a couple parks on the river, and that was super fun. We went to a couple parks there. Went swimming in ice cold water. You know, the thing about mountain streams is that you just got the water coming straight off the mountain, and you know, usually it's pretty cold. It's not like it's warmed up that much in its journey. So, but that was really, really fun. And we met some people. We went on a horseback carriage ride. That was super fun, especially with Willow, because we used to see these horseback rides in Indianapolis when we lived there, and she would always want to go on them, but they were like pretty expensive. Like, I'm thinking like $100 or something like that. And you know, I mean, you kind of like go around the circle or something. I don't remember exactly where it went in Indy, but it didn't seem like it was like quite long enough to really justify the amount of money that it was. But the one, and maybe it's just because of, you know, I don't know if it was a reduced rate or if it's just a smaller place and it was less, but it was only $40 or something like that to go. And so we decided, let's do this. And it was really cool because we had met some people down at the park, and when we were going on our little ride, before that we saw it was two separate families. We saw one of them when we were eating dinner. Then we got on that horseback ride and we saw the other family. Then we saw the first family again. Then we got off the horseback ride and we ran into the second family again. It was like we were friends after just meeting. And it was so funny because like it felt like we I don't know, there's like, I guess it's just a small town, and you know, there's not that much to do or that many places to go, so you kind of see each other quite a bit there. But that was really fun. We had a good time.
John L asks what parks you went to. If you're
okay, so we went to Waterfront Park in Leavenworth, which of course is right there on the Wenatchee River. We went to Lincoln Rock State Park, which is closer to Wenatchee. And then we went to Confluence State Park, which is in Wenatchee. Gotcha. And then we went to Lake Wenatchee State Park also. We went there, the first day we went there was Saturday, and it was full. It's like totally full. We couldn't get in. They were turning people away at the gates, and so that was a bummer. But that was the day that we ended up going down to Waterfront Park in Leavenworth and meeting those people and you know, all those good fun things that we did. So it ended up being fine. But
a couple different things, or I'll say this first and somebody has a question. Sue Brent says, we are hopeful here in Canada with COVID cases less than 100. As your neighbors, our hearts go out to you in the USA.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Sue. And Dennis Redmond says, "Hey Jed, why do you start
Whoa.
with a blank background when the picture is so bright, or the black background?"
Oh man, I was gonna say Dennis Rodman is here. Dennis Rodman?
I know that. Would be
Whoa,
crazy.
he's gotten into painting. That is so cool.
No, he wants you to come out of retirement. And play
Yeah.
baseball.
Oh, and he's recruiting me to his old man's league. Okay, Dennis, why do I do this? Well, I'll tell you, because I don't always paint on black or very dark. This is kind of, it was a thin wash of black over top, but the reason I paint on black is a couple reasons. One, I can control where all the light comes from. If I started with a white canvas, for instance, it would be white everywhere, and white is always going to be the strongest contrast and like the brightest color, and so it's going to be popping out all over the canvas. If I start with black, yes, black is the strongest contrast, but I'm in control of where the light is. And so I can kind of put that where I want and leave it where I don't want it, you know? And so that is a little bit, sometimes it's a little easier for me to deal with than doing it like on a bright surface. So that's one of the reasons. The second reason is because it's symbolic for me just about where I've come from and how I feel like I was stuck in addiction and my own issues, and I didn't feel like there was much light in my life and much hope in the world, and I feel like God brought light into my life, and so it's kind of like a symbolic thing. When I paint on black, I think about that, and I kind of love how you have this formless, kind of empty, dark thing, but it actually can become really bright and vibrant because, like you said, this picture is light and vibrant, and it reminds me of what God did and is doing even now in my life, and what He wants to do in the world and in my life continually. So, and in everybody's life. So that's kind of the deeper meaning. It's got one really practical reason, because your strongest contrast is going to be your focal interest, most likely, and then the symbolic reason.
I'll be right back.
And Peter's got to get something to eat. No, I think he actually ate today already, but you know, one of the things is that when I put the red on there also, or draw with an orange red mix, one of the things that I like about that is that it kind of tells me obviously where to paint because it's the drawing, but it also adds a little bit more interest. Sometimes I go back and I cover it up, and I have to intentionally do it because it might be a little bit overpowering or something. But it's also a way to add a little bit of life to the canvas without doing much. Really, it's just the drawing. And sometimes when you start with a dark canvas, it's helpful to get a little bit of light and color in there. You know, because it just adds a little bit of flavor to the painting. Good question.
Let's see. Aom living in Mexico says, can you talk about the qualities of synthetic brushes and how they might be different from the different manufacturers?
Oh, wow. Well, you know, that's a good question. This is what I would say about synthetic brushes compared to a natural bristle brush. When you're dealing with acrylic paints, it's really important that you're using a synthetic brush, because the natural brushes are going to shed more and they're going to swell up with water, and it's just not going to work as well with with the water-based paints. It works fine and great with oils and with the thinner, but with the water-based paint, it's not going to work as well. And so the synthetic bristles, I don't know exactly why, in terms of how they're made. I don't know what the real difference is or why it would work the way it does, but it doesn't absorb the water in the same way, and so it becomes better. The thing that I really love about these Princeton Catalyst brushes is that they have a split fiber on the end, and it enables them to be kind of soft, and yet at the same time they're pretty firm, and so they keep their shape, and that combination of being soft and firm at the same time is kind of like a mattress. You want it to be firm enough to support your back, but you want it to be soft that it's not like sleeping on a rock. And it's kind of the same thing here, where you need it to push your paint around, and at the same time you don't want it to look like you were using a rake.
Yeah.
Although there's a time for sharp, like hard brushes, or different textures and stuff like that. I have some brushes. I don't use everything that I have, like every painting. There's different things that I'll bring out for a certain painting or a different look, or if I'm trying to get texture, I might use a palette knife more, that kind of thing. But it really kind of can depend on what the objective is. But in general, a synthetic brush is going to work better with these acrylics than a natural bristle brush. Good question. And I can't remember. I know that I think I said your name last time, and I think that I got it right, you said. I'm pretty sure, but I apologize. I think it's Aom. But if I said that wrong, please do correct me, because my memory is bad, and Peter and I, we could be like, those things, bad lip reading, things. Like we could be like the bad pronunciation people.
Yeah, I know. Seriously.
I just heard about a really funny one, one of those bad lip reading things, and I don't know if anybody's ever seen it, but it's like, it's Yoda, and what was it? It was Yoda and something like, I've got to remember it, because I was going to watch it with Willow. My friend told me about it just the other day. Do you ever watch those things, Peter? Bad lip reading?
Lip reading, yeah. I used to watch every NFL when it would come out.
Oh, yeah. Those were the only ones that I've really ever seen. But the Yoda one made me think that could be really funny, because you don't watch a lot of Star Wars things, but
I haven't watched a single Star Wars.
You've never watched anything Star Wars. Okay, man, that's crazy. Can you believe that? I need to turn the camera on Peter for just a second, and we need to just ask him what happened. Did he have a bad nightmare about Star Wars or something? I don't know. I'm just worried about him. He's never seen one. And he's 19 years old.
I have no desire.
He has no desire. This is terrible, everybody. We need to help Peter. Star Wars is... No, I'm just joking around. I'm not a huge Star Wars guy like myself, but I do like to act like I am when I'm around Peter.
Him and Willow just recently binge watched all the Star Wars.
Well, that was the start of the thing that got me kind of into being a Star Wars person was The Mandalorian, watching that with Willow. That was actually really fun. The Mandalorian, it was so different. And then we watched all the Star Wars movies back to back to back. I mean, not the same day, of course, but
Rachel
Oh,
D.
man.
Raygun says, "Stay strong, Peter."
Say so. What, Rachel? What are you saying? Are you saying that you also have never watched a Star Wars movie? I'll tell you the one movie that everybody watched when I was, I guess I was in college when it came out, and I swore that I would never watch it, and I haven't. Guess what it was?
What?
Any guesses? It's a romantic movie.
Notebook?
And it's kind of a historical movie. It's not The Notebook.
Historical.
You probably weren't even born when it was released. So
Wait.
your chance of getting this is
the Black Stallion one.
Oh no, I've seen the Black Stallion.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't call the Black Stallion a romantic movie.
It's got some.
It's a love story between a horse and a boy.
Yeah, but he also he falls in love with that girl, right?
Not in the original Black Stallion. He's lost on a desert island. Maybe there's like I know there are some sequels. But the original one that I'm thinking of is like the dude it's the boy, he's on a ship with his dad, the ship goes down. He latches himself on somehow to the Black Stallion because the Black Stallion broke free from his cage and got free and was swimming, and the boy basically like was carried to shore by the Black Stallion, and then he lives on this island all by himself with this massive horse that he like becomes friends with and tries to ride and stuff like that.
Let's see. Doug Greenman asks how you stop your brushes from curling.
Oh.
The tips of your brush. He says that the tips of his brushes curl sometimes.
Oh, you know what? If you look really close, you can see right there there's one bristle that's kind of curled out. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I don't know if I have an answer for that. I think just being careful with them and like not leaving them sitting in the water is going to be the best, you know. When I say be careful, I don't mean not to paint with them or, you know, like, I mean, I try to scrub, you know, like I use them pretty roughly sometimes, and I don't know. I mean, I think that you kind of need to use a brush how you're going to use it, but when it wears out, and you kind of have to move on, but the longer life you get out of it, the better, obviously. So, you know, kind of, I don't have a good trick that I do. I just try to wash them out. The other day I did use from Diana's little trick where she was talking about using the, what is it called? Like hand sanitizer. She had given us that recommendation that you could do that and it would be a good like extra cleaner. And I was like, oh, this is cool. It seems like it kind of wears away the paint that's a little bit old in there. And what I found, not from this kind of paintbrush as much, but just other paintbrushes, is that when paint dries in the bristle, it will shorten the actual usability, like the area that's usable, and that's kind of tricky to deal with. So I think having something like that alcohol based you know, whatever hand cleaner, it's kind of helpful because it can get us back to square one if it can get rid of some of that whatever bad stuff.
Dorina says hand sanitizer gets acrylic off of wood floors too.
That's really cool.
Nice. Might have to keep that in mind.
So I'm breaking out a little bit of phthalo blue here. I'm not totally sure I should, but kind of wanted to see if I could get a little bit of a different kind of shade of green. My watch is really fast. I realized that, I mean, I tend to set my watches fast, and I do that because I'm You know why I do it. You know, I'm one of those people that, like, I actually can fool myself slightly by my first glance of thinking it's, you know, oh no, I gotta get this done or whatever it is, right? I need to leave now. And then I realize, oh wait, I've got an extra 5 minutes. And then I usually like sit around and waste that 5 minutes and leave.
Looks like it's almost 10 minutes fast.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, is that I think that at some point recently I accidentally, it must have got set ahead even more, because I was kind of freaking out earlier today when it was about time to start. I'm like, Peter, we're already late. And he goes, I still got a minute to go. But I looked at my watch and it was like 6:10 or something. So I just looked at my watch again and had the same thing kind of happen. Then I realized, oh wait, it's my watch. Anybody do that out there? Who's like, I know there's different kinds of people in the world. Some people are really, really on time kind of people. And then there's people that are like, I'm kind of like pushing it. And then there's people that are just like late. I'm just like habitually, I'm late. I would say for myself, I kind of pride myself in, I'm not like really a late person, but I'm not an early person either.
Same.
I kind of wish I was an early person, because then I would reduce a little bit of the stress in my life.
Same. Yeah, I'm definitely more of the pushing it kind of person.
Yeah.
But I'm not usually like late.
Yeah.
So, Nicole Matthews says, yup, all clocks always set 10 minutes early. Oven, car, microwave. What?
Wait, what do you say about the microwave?
All clocks are set 10 minutes early. Oven, car, microwave.
Oh, oven, car, microwave. Yeah, I know. Well, it's, you have to have all of them or it doesn't really work, you know?
Yeah.
I'm the same way. Like, our alarm clock in our room is set ahead. The oven, the microwave, all the cars, they're just a little bit ahead. Otherwise, it's like you get in one and it really throws you off. But like the other day, I got in the car and the battery had died because I had left something plugged in, and we've got this charging kind of port that if I leave it plugged in and I forget about it, and it's like in our Suburban, I didn't drive the Suburban for a couple days, and I went out and it was dead, so I had to charge it, and then I never set the clock again. But it was close enough that it made us like think that it was right.
Yeah.
And oh, it was just so, it's like so weird when that kind of stuff happens. You're like, what time is it right now? Because this doesn't seem right.
Patricia says, if you're not 10 minutes early, you're late.
Yeah, I know.
Dorina Belpetti says, yes, I'm a freak about being late. My dad used to say, if you're not 15 minutes early, you're late. And then Rachel D. Raygun says, yes, my husband says that all the time.
Yeah. I've never heard 15 minutes. I have actually heard, like, there was a guy I watched like an inspirational video, and I think his dad was like said an hour. You know, be an hour early. Yeah.
Of course, there's always that.
Yeah,
extreme.
I know. But I've mainly heard 5 minutes. If you're 5 minutes early or something, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. That kind of thing. But I can see 15 minutes, 10 minutes being maybe even more helpful, because 5 minutes is still kind of pushing it, you know, like.
It also depends on what you need to be there for.
Well,
like,
and what it is.
Yeah, like,
you know,
job interviews, stuff like that. I'd probably always want to be like at least 15 minutes early for.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff like that.
And if you have to travel, you know, you've got to take into the variables of that, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
If I'm like walking out my driveway to meet my neighbor, I think 5 minutes is plenty of time, you know, to stand out there and wait for him.
Yeah.
Even a minute is ample because I can look out and see it. But like, if I have to drive to Seattle or something like that, that's gonna be a lot more iffy. So I can see, maybe you just like set that based on what it is.
Well, Hazeltine says, and I have to let the people know exactly where I am and when I'll be there. And that reminds me of the story of, you talked about somebody from Indy who would say, like, pulling up.
Oh my goodness. Oh, crazy, man. Yeah, there are totally just different ways of approaching this whole thing. Because I was working with a guy, and it was like, I don't know what day, but he was supposed to be there, and I said, hey, I texted him, I'm like, where are you? We're starting the job. And he said, he said, I'm just around the corner, or something like that, or pulling up, and I was like, okay. And then like half an hour later, I was like, where are you? And he's like, just around the corner. And it was just like this thing, and I'm like, whatever it was, my understanding of what it meant to be just around the corner was definitely not the same thing as his understanding of just around the corner. It was just like, wow, I've never thought I understood something you said and been that far off,
Yeah.
Wow.
Doug Greenman says, I'm always earlier on time when I'm not late.
Yeah. That's funny, Doug.
Okay, Matthew Kelly has an interesting question.
Okay.
He says, Jed, I got an interesting question. My art teacher told me that there are some people who say art isn't a real job and never agree with those people. Do you agree those people say that have no clue about art?
Art isn't a real job. Well, so I mean, I'd be curious to know why they said that. I'd be curious to know like what their history was, and when you have like conversations with people, have you ever noticed, like, I'm gonna sidetrack for just a second here, but it relates, so bear with me.
Yeah.
You have a conversation with somebody, and like maybe you bring something up, or you're just like talking with somebody, or maybe it's you have like a really strong reaction to something, like, and or the other person does, or whatever it is, and you're like, boy, later you're thinking about it, you're like, that reaction was really strong, like, and then you kind of like, well, it didn't really make that much sense to have that strong of a reaction. Like, I know I do this kind of thing sometimes. And then what I realize sometimes is that the reason I had such a strong reaction is because something in my past was triggered, like, and so like, that's like when he says that, or that professor says that, whoever it is, I'm wondering if there's something from their past that's getting triggered a little bit. Like, yeah. It even makes me wonder, did they dream about being an artist someday and it never happened, or did somebody squash their dream? Did somebody say to them,
yeah,
that's not a real job, go get a real job, like one of their parents or something like that really impacted them? Or, what exactly, why are they saying that, and what's going on? I can't speak into that at all, because I don't have any clue, but yeah, it just does make me wonder. And I'd say, though, what makes a job a job?
Yeah.
You work at it, you get paid from it, more than likely. I mean, that's what I'm saying, is, like, there are volunteers, do lots of amazing things, but you wouldn't call that a job, right? Like, yeah, a job you get paid for. And so, like, the difference between a hobby and a job is you make money from it. And so, I think, why can't you say that being an artist is a job? Yeah. If you're making money and you're, yeah, supporting yourself or your family or whatever you need to be supporting.
Do you mind
yeah, go ahead.
I have some 2 cents on it.
Yeah. Throw yours in.
I've heard kind of the same thing, like, because I do photography and video editing and stuff like that, and it's not exactly the same as what Jed does, but it's kind of a similar thing.
Yeah.
it's a creative type of profession, you know, and I've had people react, you know, kind of the same way when I tell them what I do, and I think to some extent there is some valid concern behind it, because like I also do know people who are kind of like, they say I want to be an artist, but they're using it kind of as a cop-out, like they're not willing to put in the time it takes to live as an artist, because I think the thing is, to live as an artist, you have to really, really love it and be willing to put in the work it takes, you know, because you don't have the typical stability that a normal job has.
Yeah.
So you definitely have to like know that it's a lot of work and be willing to do it because you love it, you know.
Yeah, totally.
But also like if that's what you love to do, then yeah, like go after it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna talk directly to you. Now, who said that?
Matthew Kelly.
Okay, Matthew, I'm gonna talk to you, and I'm gonna talk to anybody who wants to be a full-time artist or dreams of making money from selling art, because, and I'm gonna be really honest with you. So when I became a full-time artist, it was about 4 years ago or something like that, and I was living in Indianapolis. I had a really amazing situation because for me, I had no choice. I had to make a living because I had a wife and a daughter, still do, and we had, you know, our house payments, we had all this stuff, you know, if I don't make money, we don't eat, we don't pay rent, we don't pay our mortgage, whatever it is, and it just wasn't an option. So we got to a place, it started off great, you know, everything was going great, but it came to the winter that first year, and I remember I had a couple commissions, and then it got really tight. So I'm going to keep painting, but I'm getting around to tell you. So like, there was a point where we kind of came to a place where we said, if we don't make money at this next show, this next thing that I'm doing, I was like, I told Renee, I said, I don't think I can be a full-time artist. I think I'm going to have to do something else. And, you know, whatever. So we were like, man, we were praying about it. We were like going, okay, God, like if you want us to do this, you know, again, because, you know, you're in charge in our worldview, you know, God's in charge. And if he wants us to do this, then, hey, look, you got to open the doors. You got to help make this happen because we can't do it. We ended up selling a bunch of paintings that next show. And I sold like 17 paintings. And I had actually lowered my prices and stuff like that, but we sold a bunch of paintings, and we're like, oh, okay, we can do this. We're out of that little pinch, but let me tell you something. This is why I looked you in the eye, and I'm gonna look you in the eye again. So we moved here. We sold a house in Indianapolis. We were here. The price of living was way more than it was in Indianapolis. We didn't have a rental house anymore that was helping subsidize, and so I was just watching our bank account like go down. And I was from here, but we were new here. But here's the deal. So we've invested like everything that we had in our bank account from the sale of our house and whatever. We were like slow. I was like, man, we're either going to watch this go away or we're going to invest it. And that was when I'd been thinking about doing something, and I with video, but I didn't know what. And I met somebody, and she gave me this idea of doing art training online. And I was like, oh my goodness. And not just YouTube kind of thing. And I thought, you know what? I think that this would be really fun. I think it'd be good. And I think that we could create something really unique and great, because I just didn't know that many artists who were working in acrylics. I'd had my own experience trying to find stuff. So anyways, we invested a ton of time, money, energy, everything we had basically into this. It comes around to the point where, I don't know if you guys know, but Acrylic University is like a lot of work. Like, it's tons and tons of hours. Peter, we've all put in so much time and energy and everything like that, because we're passionate about it, we love it. But we were at a place, and we were doing okay, but in terms of money, like, I didn't do this just solely for money, but my friend called me, and he's a house painter, and he said, Jed, I was just wondering if you how you're doing with COVID. And here's the deal. We had our house payment here, we had our studio payment, and we had everything else going on, and we didn't have the income from the studio anymore because we couldn't host classes. I looked into the PPP stuff, and from how I read it, I was like, I don't think we qualify, and so we didn't do that. We didn't have that kind of subsidized income or anything like that. So at that point I was like, maybe I should take my friend up on this, because even though we weren't like desperately needing the money at the time, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna work with my friend here, because I used to be a house painter and it's easy for me, and he told me the situation, and it was contract work, and I knew that I could do it, and I could just like show up. I could tell him when I wanted to work and all that kind of stuff. And why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because, like I said earlier in the day, making a living from art is not easy. I don't know if anybody would say it is, but I know a lot of artists that, would say, you have to hustle, you have to work hard, you have to keep doing stuff. And for me this summer, I was actually kind of tired. I was like, we've been going at this for a long time, and for several different reasons, for the little bit of extra money, for a little break away from the norm, to hang out with a friend that I like and don't see very much, because it's summer, being outside working would be nice, like all these things came into my decision. And so for the last couple months, I haven't in the last little while here, but like June, July, I did a lot of painting outside. And I did it because, like Peter was saying, you can't use your passion as an excuse for working hard or for being responsible. You can pursue your passion. You can make a living as an artist, and you can go for it, but you have to also like live within what you have in front of you and what you're responsible for. And I have a wife and daughter, and it felt to me like the most responsible thing for me was to take my friend up on his offer and do a little bit of work outside of the house, outside of our normal thing, until we can get our studio back up operating, until we can, whatever. Yeah. So anyways, all that to say that, yes, I totally think art is a profession. I think that you can do it. It's also something that you want to go into with a lot of, like, you just don't want to like cut off every avenue. Although, I mean, there is a point of you have to take a plunge. You kind of have to jump, and you have to go for it. And do you mind if I... No, go for it.
Well, a few different things. Not to say that like other professions are like less work or somehow inferior or whatever. Not at all. By any stretch, but just, if you are going to do art, realize that like a lot of like you're in charge of the ship pretty much. And so it can be tough sometimes. But yeah, what you're saying, like, you have to take a plunge at some point. I was reading something today, and that's how it happens with a lot of artists, is they kind of do their passion on the side, and it slowly starts to grow. Yeah. And they hit a point where it's not totally disastrous for them to drop their other stuff. Totally. Yeah. And
that's what happened to us, honestly, was that I had, started selling a lot more work, and it became like, oh, I could make a living at this, and I wouldn't hate life, because you have to kind of be able to enjoy it as not just as a hobby. It's different. When that's one of the things that people ask me a lot is, how do you keep the passion of what you're doing when it's not just something fun you do, when you want to, but you have to kind of make a living at it. And so you have to evaluate all that kind of stuff. Like, some people choose not to make it their full-time thing, not because they're not good enough, but because they don't want to risk, I guess, having the passion of what they do, lost.
Yeah.
But really good question, and I'd love to talk more with anybody who's like interested in it, because I think that it's a really valiant pursuit. I think it's really challenging, fun, and I would totally be up for trying to encourage and help anybody who's trying to make that jump.
Susie Crawford says your commitment to your family is beautiful, and Nicole Gunter says love how God is taking care of you.
Yeah, the thing is that it's, at the end of the day, like, being an artist it feels like walking on water sometimes, because it's like you don't know where things are going to come from. It's different every month. You might have like for us, honestly, Acrylic University is something that we're investing a lot in, because we believe that it could be the most, profitable. It could be the most reliable. It could be, and it's actually like it's in some ways it's the most fun. Like, I'm a people person. I love hanging out with people and talking with people, and aren't you glad? I'm so glad that we have a community. What would we be doing? What would I be doing right now if it wasn't for the Acrylic University community? It's not like we can just hang out with anybody, and so it's like a super big blessing to us. But we love. By the way, if you're not part of the Acrylic University community, I would say this, that if you're interested at all, we're opening up our doors for membership again real soon. It's August 20th. We're going to actually open the doors back up. And also, we just kind of like redid the homepage so that it would have a free class available again. So we've got something called Color 101. If you're new, and that might have been the way that you came in. I was looking back, I saw some comments from different people. I think maybe even some people who are watching tonight came through because we developed that and gave it away when we first came up with Color 101. But man, that was a fun course, Peter. I was looking through some videos today again, and it was fun to hang out with you. That was really a blast.
So Joan asks, what marketing venues work best for selling artwork? Art shows, other websites, own website, galleries, other. I have something real quick before Jed fills in. One way that you can make a living as an artist that I don't think a lot of people think about is going the route of like the less expensive route and just trying to sell a lot of prints, because there are all kinds of websites that will take your artwork and promote it for you, and the more popular your work is, the more people buy it, the more they'll promote it. So you can go that route, like just try and sell a bunch of prints, or you can go like more towards the fine art route, and that's where Jed has a lot more expertise.
Yeah, you really can. There's different ways of looking at it, and I'm not like an expert in everything at all. I think you have to figure out how you're going to get in front of enough people. Like, one of the things that I realized about myself was that if at a certain point, if my paintings got in front of enough people, they would sell. Like, I was good enough that somebody would like it. And generally, it's not so much about how amazing you are. If you are painting, and you're painting from your heart, and you're reasonably good, You know, like, you don't have to be the best artist in the whole world, but if you are able to represent what you're trying to represent and do something that's you know, emotionally can help somebody else to connect, then you have a good chance of somebody wanting to buy that painting. It's just, how do you get it in front of the people, enough people? And so, like, I think that advertising some way, you know, is vital, and some of that you can do by simply hustling. You know, like, we all have access to Facebook and YouTube. We have access to Instagram and TikTok and all these programs that make it, man, you have essentially just as good of a chance of getting out there and being discovered as anybody else in the whole world.
Yeah.
The problem is that there's everybody else in the whole world that's already out there too, and it's not easy to get discovered. But consistency and perseverance are the key to any business. Like, you're not going to get out there, you're not going to make it happen without those things. So, you know, not giving up and having a plan and working your plan, like, is going to be super important, no matter who you are, no matter what your genre is or what you're, you know, doing. And the other thing is, you have to keep getting better. You have to keep growing, keep practicing, keep, like, working on your craft. And that's going to make the next thing, like, because the percentage of people who need to see your work, like, I figured at one point maybe I needed to have 1,000 people see a painting, or maybe it's 10,000, I don't know, like, just say 10,000 people need to see a painting before one person will break out their wallet and buy it. And maybe if I get better and better, I can get that down to 5,000 people. If 5,000 people see my painting, I'll get one person to break out their wallet. Wouldn't it be great if you could get it down to 1,000 people need to see it? Well, maybe that's not the route you need to go. Maybe that's because maybe you don't want to lower your price or have it be so reasonable that 1 in 1,000 could buy it, or 1 in 100. But maybe you need to figure out how you can get it in front of, if 1 in 10,000 need to, you know, would buy it, maybe you need to figure out how you're going to get it in front of, you know, 100,000 people. So you have 10 potential buyers who could see it. And like, figuring out those gains, but you kind of need to continue to get better as an artist, or else that ratio is going to be really lopsided and it's not going to be working in your favor. It's like, nobody wants to buy, you know, something that they don't see the value in. But yeah, we all at the same time make personal connections, and you have the opportunity to make personal connections with people, with real people, by being a real person, by being honest and vulnerable, and whatever makes you have the opportunity to do that. And people will buy from you more because of the personal connection than they will, you know, just because they see something. You want to get to the place where somebody will just see it and they'll buy it because they love the painting, but you also can't rely on that, especially when you're early on. Like, you need to have connections and you need to, like, work those things. So I think I'm done with this painting. Yeah, this was fun. Had a good time with this. Just looking at it real quick before I say my final I'm done. But Peter, why don't we get this going with the thing? If you haven't done it, I'll show you one more time. Text the word land in to this 855-588-4278, and this will get you into being able to win this painting if you're interested.
How long do you want me to wait?
Oh, maybe just a couple minutes. I mean, you could actually start now. Like, if somebody's gonna, you've got 10 seconds, guys. They've already put in their comments, I'm sure.
Okay. All right.
Okay, Peter is rolling the dice right now.
Already did. I'm gonna text
He's
the first one here.
doing it. He's rolling. He's texting somebody. So.
Oh.
Yeah,
I know she's here, and I know we're gonna be able to get in contact with her. So, Sue Brent.
Okay, Sue Brent.
Won
Because
tonight's
she
painting.
was chatting in here with us.
Oh yeah, she's still here right now. She just
Okay.
did a beautiful job. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, congratulations, Sue. Super happy that you'll be able to take home this painting after we ship it to you. Then you'll get it from outside and you'll take it home. Maybe it'll be shipped directly to your home anyways. But thanks for being with us, you guys. Remember these things, okay? I've got a few things I want to tell you really quick. One, we're going to open up membership really soon. So if you're not a member, make sure you go to acrylicuniversity.com and you sign up on our waiting list so that when we open the doors, you'll be notified. Two, you matter. Your life matters. We care about you. We love you. We're thankful that you're part of this tonight. We hope that you come back next week. And thirdly, go have a good time and have fun painting. Do something that you love doing, and we'll see you all next week.